Okay, next question. Again, sometimes you're going to be given the triangle. I thought I would try to do examples that are a little bit harder, which is without the triangle, I think. At least that's harder. I'm not really sure. But let's go ahead and draw it. Capital letters are here, right, as angles, and the ones across from them are their lowercase letters, right? Let's fill in what was given. A was 35, B was 42, and C was 50.3. So again, I'm going to show you guys how to solve for the entire triangle, but on your test, you're probably only going to have to solve for a specific piece, or it's going to be multiple choice where you can use the process of elimination for that. All right, so here we go. I could honestly really solve for any angle to begin with because I have all three sides. So it's kind of like an eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I know that I need to find, let me write my list here first so I can focus. I need to find all the capital letters, all the angles inside the triangle. So when you have this type of a triangle with only the sides, but all three sides are given to you, I couldn't use law of sines because I would still have two variables. So I'd have to use law of cosines. Here's what I mean, okay? Let's pretend that this is your test question and it doesn't tell you to use law of sines or law of cosines. You're going to have to pick, okay? So let's say you go with law of sines first. So I start to set up my problem, and let's say I'm going to focus on A and B, okay? If I start to plug in, I don't know capital A, I do know lowercase a, but I also don't know capital B. This is a problem because I can't solve this question because it has two variables inside. So if you start to do this on your test, then you know that you've used the wrong law, okay? So for this particular triangle, I can't use law of sines. Even if I did the C's, it would be the same problem. Any combination of law of sines that I use is not going to work. So I have to use law of cosines. Now let's say I want to start with angle A, and that's totally random. Again, if I use angle A, then lowercase a is over here. The other two letters are here, minus 2 times those same two letters. Let's go ahead and plug it in. A is 35. B is 42. C is 50.3. And these are just real tedious, so you got to make sure you kind of go slow. I really, again, am going to stress that you guys are plugging into your calculator along with me. I'm going to actually share my calculator with you while I'm doing this problem, okay? So I'm going to go ahead using order of operations. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. I'm going to go ahead and pull up my calculator here, and I'm going to find all of my squares first, okay? So 35 squared is 1225. Uh-oh. I'm not sure what happened there. Okay, and then 42 squared is 1764. Just going really slow. 50.3 squared is 2530.09. 30.09 minus, okay, I'm going to go ahead and multiply this piece as well, okay? So 2 times 42 times 50.3. I'm going to go ahead and do that as well. I know it's going to be a negative, so that's why I already have my minus sign there. So I'm just going to forget about the negative on the 2 for right now, and I'm just going to multiply 2 times 42 times 50.3. And obviously I'm not plugging in the cosine part because I don't have the a right now. So this is just the number in front. And then this has a cosine A attached to it. All right, let's see, what else can I do? Let me go ahead and clean this up a little bit by adding these two together. I can retype that in if I want to, or I can just double click. There's my 17 plus my 25, this number. I always like to use the answers because I feel like I'm going to make less mistakes that way. But to each their own. You don't have to do it this way. That's just my thinking. So now this is 225. And again, this was 4294, 4294.09. Okay, again, I'm going to warn you because I see it all the time. You're really going to want to add these two numbers together here. You cannot do that. This is all connected. You cannot ever, ever, ever combine those. Okay, guys? But what I can do is I can subtract this on both sides. Let's see what that is. So see how tedious this question is? You just have to go really slow. 1, 2, 2, 5. And this question will actually be quite a bit easier on your test because you're only going to have one piece that you need to find, not the whole problem. 4294.09. Okay, and I'm getting negative 3069.09. And that equals negative 4225.2 cosine of A. Okay, I want to get my A by itself, so now I'm going to go ahead and divide by 4225.2. Divide by 4225.2. Not just that, but it's also negative, right? So let me pull up my previous solution, and now I'm going to divide by negative. I could double click 4225.2 up here, or I could just type it in 4225.2. And I'm going to get 0.726. Okay, so now what I currently have is cosine of A equals 0.726. And again, I need A by itself. So when A is directly attached to a cosine, then I have to use my cosine inverse, right, you guys? So now I have to do the cosine inverse of that previous solution. So in order to access the inverse, I have to hit Shift and my cosine button, and it was 0.726. And my solution is going to give me 43.448. 43.448, and that's degrees. And I can add it to my little triangle up here if I'd like to. As I was saying in the first example, honestly, you guys really only have to use law of cosines once. This is not something you want to use for every single variable. You're going to run out of time. Okay, so to find the other angles, I'm going to go ahead and use law of sines next. So here's how I tend to find, it doesn't necessarily work this way every single time, but usually for the first variable, I can use law of cosines. Then the next one, I can use law of sines. And then the last one, hopefully I can use the idea of all of the angles adding up to 180. So that's what I'm going to do here, okay? So let me flip this back around because I don't write. Okay. Let me use I don't know, my colors were kind of all over the place here, huh? Let's go back to this rainbow looking one. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo really does not matter which one you start with. So let's say we want to go with B next, okay? So if I'm going to be using B here, obviously I definitely have to use A because that's the only one whose angle and the side opposite that I have. I'm going to be using this right here. I couldn't use it in my first step because I didn't have enough information. But now that I've found angle A, I'm only going to have one variable to solve for. So sine of A again was 43.448 degrees. Lowercase a is what it corresponds to, is 35. And on the right-hand side, we're going to use B. So sine of capital B over 42. I'm going to go ahead and multiply both sides by 42 so that it goes away here. And then I'm going to plug all of this into my calculator. So let me pull up my calculator here. And I always like to start with the sine part, okay, guys? So I'm going to do the trig part at least. Sine of 43. Again, I could just double tap. Previous answer is the one I want. There it is. And I like to hit, I hit enter twice. All right. So that's what I get for that piece. I'm going to multiply by 42. Or you could divide by 35 first and then multiply by 42. It doesn't matter. And then I'm going to divide by 35. So what I am getting right now is sine of B equals 0.825. Now again, in order to get rid of the trig part, I am finding an angle right now. So to get B by itself, I would have to find the sine inverse of 0.825. So I go to my calculator. I'm going to access that shift button. I'm making sure there's an A that stands for arc in front of my sine. I'm going to use my previous answer, and then I'm going to hit enter. So B equals 55.612. And I'm going to plug it in up here, 55.6. Now again, to find angle C, try to think of your easiest things that you can use. I'm going to go ahead and write this one kind of over here on the side. But what you're going to have here is I need the third angle inside that triangle. So I have 43.448 plus 55.612 plus angle C equals 180, right? So let's go ahead and add those two together. 43.448 plus 55.612. That equals 99.06 plus angle C equals 180, right? Then I'm going to subtract 99.06 from both sides. So 180 minus 99.06. So again, very, very, very calculator heavy. We got 80.94 degrees. And all of these, since they're all angles, should add up to 180 if you look at them real quickly. Okay, you could be off by a degree or two, and that's due to the, the rounding that you guys have had. All right, I know this is not easy. You're really focusing on the equation and the formula, and you're being extremely, extremely careful when plugging into your calculator. If you are simply just watching this video right now and not practicing by plugging into your calculator, then you are robbing yourself of having a mistake that's very much calculator driven. I see it all the time. So do not assume that you get it by just watching this video. You need to make sure that you practice, okay? Some of you had some funky mistakes that came up on your quiz yesterday, and you need to make sure you practice on your homework and along with me in the videos with plugging in stuff, because I hate to see you guys get answers wrong from not plugging in correctly. That shouldn't be a reason to get something wrong. All right, you guys. So that is it for law of cosines. I will make sure that I review this tomorrow with you, along with some questions that I put together for a review as well. All right, just in case you're struggling. All right, have a good one, you guys.